Thank you. This is from my mystery novel that I'm working on. The week started with a volcanic eruption and it continued with a death. Kilauea volcano burst and Kelsey Araki, a 16-year-old sophomore at Kohala High School, was murdered. Both events hit Detective Achilles Nalawaka. He was assigned the case of the murdered girl the same day lava started flowing towards his home. The house and land had been in his family for 3 generations. At the same time, the newspapers were following the murder case as if it were a football game. They were also waiting for Nalawaka to slip up because he had solved all his previous cases, a curse of the undefeated. Distracted by the lava and at his wit's end with the case, Detective Nalawaka, or Nalu as he preferred to be called, pulled a Hail Mary play. He picked up a local criminal named Sumo Glenn, a butterball of a man with a top-knot haircut. Despite his teddy bear appearance, he was a low-level enforcer and sometimes killer. They drove on the coastal highway that encircled the big island of Hawaii. In the passenger seat, Sumo Glenn yanked on the chains that were locked on his wrists and ankles. "Glenn," Nalu said, "if you keep rattling those chains, the day is not going to end well." "What law was I breaking, detective?" Sumo Glenn asked. "Your waist is breaking the laws of physics." Sumo Glenn waited a moment to deliver the best comeback he could find. "Fuck you." "Sorry, that costs money." Nalu glanced at the distance where Kilauea volcano loomed large, its lava flowing to the Pacific. Sumo Glenn looked out the window at the rising smoke. "Hey, the police station's the other way," he said. Nalu nodded. Not far away, the steam was rising off the land. The lava was burning through trees, lakes, homes, erasing everything in its path. Nalu switched on the windshield wipers to brush away the falling ash. The smell of sulfur came from the sealed car. "Shit," Sumo Glenn said. "We going to your ranch. That whole area is going to be covered in a few hours. It'll turn." "What?" "The lava, it's going to turn. It's going to pass the area by." Nalu had to keep telling himself that. A child's dream, if he said it enough, it would come true. "You low-law or what? Screw this, bro. This is illegal. This is against the law. Stop this car. Stop that car right now. Shut up, Glenn. If I stop the car, all that's going to happen is I'm going to throw you in the trunk. So just sit there and shut up." Sumo Glenn sank into his seat and stared out the window. He mumbled something that Nalu couldn't hear and didn't care to listen to. Nalu slowed as he drove around a roadblock. A sign on the blockade read, "Danger, road closed." Nalu repeated in his head, "The lava will turn," and he hoped the volcano goddess was listening. When they reached the ranch, Nalu dragged Sumo Glenn into the plantation-style house. Nalu dropped his prisoner into a chair in the den. In the center of the room, Kelsey Araki's case file was laid out on a folding table. As the sun set, Nalu cracked the seal on some black label scotch and finished a few glasses before it was dark. The night was black except for the orange glow in the distance. The lava was coming, and it left Nalu in a crimson mood. "Let's try it again," Nalu said. He emptied the last of the scotch into his glass and opened a second bottle. "Bro, the whole island know the same thing," Sumo Glenn said. "The girl is dead. Could have been her teacher, her pop's boyfriend, some random wahine. I don't know anything. So let's go, let's get out of here." Nalu sipped the scotch and knelt a few feet from Sumo Glenn's chair. "Well, we're going to stay here until we figure it out," Nalu said. "Damn it, we gotta get out of here. We're going to be burned alive." Sumo Glenn continued his monologue, but Nalu tuned him out. He sipped his scotch and paced in circles looking at the house. He thought of all the work that it took to create it. Before big machinery, the house was built by hand. Filipino and Chinese immigrants worked for Nalu's great-grandfather, hammering every nail, molding every piece of material until it fit the structure. He wondered who carved the Malay pattern into the stone edges of the walls. Everything those people had worked for was going to be erased. Nalu wondered what the men in his family would do if they were still alive. They probably would have picked up the land, let the lava pass by, and put the house right back where it was. "Hey, detective, you hearing me?" "No, I stopped listening a while ago." Nalu filled up his glass again and drank it just as fast. He leaned over the folding table. Sweat fell from his forehead, splattering on the case files. It was getting hotter. The lava was closing in. Sumo Glenn pulled at the chains. "I said I'm feeling claustrophobic in here." "That's just because you're fat." "Shit, seriously, it's 100 degrees in here. The walls is closing in." Nalu ignored Sumo Glenn, but the heat was affecting him too, and the scotch wasn't helping. Nalu moved the case files around the table, rereading every statement. "I'm missing something," he said. "Shaolin brain." "Shut up, Glenn." Outside, the lava hissed in the night, overconfident of its power to wipe the land clean. Louder and louder, the hissing grew. Sumo Glenn started laughing. The heat was getting to him. "The murder magician," he said. "Any case, Detective Nalawaka will solve it." Nalu leaned on the folding table. The second bottle of scotch was empty, and he swore it must have evaporated in the heat. The lava's hiss was growing. Sumo Glenn's eyes glazed over, and he laughed hysterically. Kelsey O'Rocky's still dead. We going to be burned. We going to be dead. Sweat rolled off Nalu's face. It hit the table in rhythm. Drip, drip, drip. We going to be dead, Sumo Glenn laughed. Nalu stared at the evidence, and he could hear Kelsey O'Rocky laughing at him too. The hissing was starting to crackle in the air. Nalu's head started pounding, blood burning. The night was pounding, louder and louder, closer and closer the lava was coming. Nalu could hear his grandfather laughing at him, his father laughing at him. The bones of the house were creaking. His heart pounded, his head pounded, his ancestors were laughing at him, the island was laughing at him. The room started spinning, the hissing roared, the lava was coming, and the lava was there. And I think I'm out of time.
Ryan from